You know that feeling, right? You've built something really good. Maybe it's a great fitness app backed by science or like a gym with amazing trainers.
Yeah, something solid.
Exactly. But then
Hmm.
you look online and it feels like you're just shouting into the void. Visibility's low, sales are stuck. It's tough.
It really is, especially in crowded spaces, like fitness.
And if you're feeling that pinch and thinking about how to, boost your social media presence, give it a real jump start, you might want to look into services like those offered at rapidboost.net. Just something to keep in mind for boosting visibility.
Absolutely. A great product isn't enough if people don't see it, or if the way you connect doesn't quite, well, connect.
Well, today we're diving deep into a case study, a fitness startup that actually cracked this. They seriously increased their sales, doubled them, using very specific TikTok strategies.
Yeah, it's a fascinating story.
So we're going to unpack the how and the why behind it all. Pull out insights you can actually use, whatever field you're in. Consider this your mission for today's deep dive. Understand what really works on TikTok for growth without feeling like you suddenly need to become, I don't know, a dance star.
Right. It's about finding a shortcut to effective strategies. And we're basing this on a detailed article that lays out their whole journey.
Okay, cool. So let's start at the beginning. What was the situation for this startup before TikTok became their focus?
Well, the article paints a pretty familiar picture. Good app, science-backed, as you said. Passionate team, decent funding, even a modest Instagram following.
Okay, sounds okay on paper.
But the reality was different. That Instagram growth, totally flatlined, plateaued.
Ugh, that feeling. Putting in work, getting nothing back.
Yeah,
So frustrating.
exactly. And it wasn't just Instagram. They had other classic online marketing problems, getting new customers via paid ads. Super expensive. Their cost per acquisition was high.
Right. Spending a lot for each sign up.
Yeah. And their website wasn't converting visitors well. People would land there, maybe browse, but not sign up. Plus, there was this feeling inside the company that their brand just wasn't coming across as, well, fun and real online. That's a direct quote from their marketing head.
Fun and real. Definitely the goalpost these days, huh?
Yeah.
So what were they doing on social media before TikTok that wasn't, hitting the mark?
They were doing the usual stuff, really. Email campaigns that felt a bit stale.
Predictable.
Yeah, predictable. Pouring resources into YouTube content, which is great, but it's resource intensive and wasn't giving them the reach or engagement they wanted. Their Facebook ads weren't quite finding the right people consistently. And the big thing they felt was missing: real, authentic storytelling. Their online stuff felt a bit too polished, maybe?
A bit too corporate, perhaps?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It just got lost in all the noise online.
Okay, so that sets the stage. What made them think TikTok, of all platforms, could be the answer? It's often just seen as like quick entertainment.
That was a major shift in thinking for them. They started seeing TikTok as more than just dance challenges. They saw a potential for actual ROI.
Okay.
The article points out TikTok's unique setup, these short, snappy, interactive videos, and the algorithm. It rewards creativity and authenticity, often more than big budgets. That felt like an opening for a startup.
Right. A more level playing field, maybe. Not just about who spends the most.
Exactly. But they did have that hurdle you mentioned, the perception that you have to dance or do silly trends.
Yeah, that's a big one for a lot of businesses, I think.
For sure. But the key insight they landed on was that TikTok, at its heart, is about storytelling. Grabbing attention fast, yes, but also making a real human connection. That's what works.
Storytelling. Makes sense. So they didn't just jump in and start posting randomly, right? What
Yeah.
was the groundwork?
No, they were smart about it. They went into what the article calls listening mode.
Listening mode, I like that.
Yeah. So before posting much, they just spent time analyzing what was already working in the fitness world on TikTok. They looked at big brands, small personal trainers, even just viral wellness clips.
So like on-platform market research, what did they find? What kinds of fitness content were actually getting traction?
This is where it gets really good. They spotted these overlooked fitness gaps, content themes that got huge engagement but weren't maybe being consistently covered.
Ooh, like what?
Things like day in the life videos from trainers, people love that behind the scenes stuff. Fitness myth busting, done in a quick visual way.
Yeah, debunking things.
Totally. Also, workout hacks specifically for small apartments. nutrition tips for busy people, professionals, and reaction videos commenting on other viral fitness trends.
Those all sound super practical and relatable.
Exactly. It wasn't the usual glossy, perfect fitness image. It was addressing real questions and struggles people have. They figured maybe these gaps existed because traditional marketing often ignores the messy reality.
That's a great insight. Did they back this up with, like, competitor analysis, too?
Oh, yeah. They did a proper competitive benchmark, looked at about 25 competitors, direct and indirect.
25. Wow.
Yeah, they were thorough. Tracked follower growth, looked at the metrics on their top videos, views, saves, shares, noted how they used TikTok features like duets and stitches, checked engagement ratios.
Okay, so what was the big takeaway from spying on the competition?
The biggest thing, the brands doing best were the ones making viewers feel seen. Their content wasn't slick or overly salesy. It was raw, a bit messy sometimes, full of personality.
Real.
Real. And the article stresses this. None of them went viral just by pushing their product. It was all about connection, relatability. That's what the algorithm seemed to like, too, because it keeps people watching.
Okay, so authenticity wins. That really drives it home. So they've analyzed the competition. They know authenticity is key.
Yeah.
How did they define their specific audience on TikTok?
They dug into understanding their ideal users' TikTok DNA.
TikTok DNA. Love these terms.
Right. So they figured their core audience was roughly mid-20s to early 40s, urban, likely time-strapped. And they looked at what was already showing up on their For You pages.
What kind of stuff?
Quick workout tips, meal prep ideas, life hacks, relatable fails, funny attempts at self-improvement, that kind of thing.
Basically immersing themselves in their target audience's world.
Exactly. And they noticed this audience really didn't like obvious sales pitches.
Hated them, probably.
Yeah, pretty much. But they loved underdog stories. They loved getting advice from experts who felt friendly and approachable, not preachy. Understanding all that became like the foundation for everything they created.
Okay, groundwork done. Audience understood. Platform understood. Let's get to the content. What did they actually make? What were the main content pillars?
They built their strategy around 4 main pillars. First one, maybe the most important, was what they called story-driven educational content. Basically, edutainment.
Edutainment. Catchy.
Yeah. The goal was short, engaging videos that taught people something useful but were also entertaining. These do well because, people want to learn and be entertained.
Makes sense. What are some examples of that edutainment content?
They did things like debunking viral fitness myths with actual demos. Like they tested the 100 squats a day thing and showed the science.
Oh.
They did mini-series, like 3-day home workout challenges. And crucially, they featured real users sharing their progress, unedited, honest stories. Not just dramatic transformations, but the real journey.
That builds so much trust. Very different from just lecturing people. What was pillar number 2?
Second one was trend hacking with brand voice. They knew they had to tap into trending sounds and formats to get seen.
Right, you had to play the game a bit.
But just copying trends wouldn't build their brand. So their approach was take a trend, but inject their personality, their expertise into it.
Smart. Could you give an example?
Sure, like they took that what I ordered versus what I got sound.
Yeah.
They adapted it to show funny workout fails or equipment mishaps, and then subtly pointed to how their app offered a better solution. They also used the stitch feature a lot.
Responding to other videos?
Exactly. They'd stitch with other fitness creators, sometimes agreeing, sometimes disagreeing, or fact-checking. It sparked conversation and positioned them as knowledgeable voices in the space.
Really clever way to join existing conversations, but add their own value. Okay, what were the other 2 pillars?
Third was community content and UGC, user-generated content. They actively encouraged people to duet or stitch their videos.
Getting the audience involved.
Totally. They ran challenges, like one called #RealBodiesRealResults, to spotlight genuine wins from their users. It built a real sense of community. And the fourth pillar was behind the brand storytelling.
Showing the human side. How'd they do that?
They weren't afraid to be vulnerable, basically. Shared funny office moments, bloopers, talked openly about challenges like a product launch that didn't go perfectly, showed their own staff working out, sometimes struggling.
Makes them relatable, not just a faceless company.
Exactly. It was all about building that trust and connection.
Okay, so great content pillars. But making good stuff is one thing, getting it seen is another. How did they handle posting, strategy, timing, frequency, TikTok, SEO?
They were really strategic here, kept up to date with algorithm changes, which is crucial on TikTok.
It changes so fast.
It really does. And they analyzed when their target audience was actually online and active. That data drove their posting schedule. They aimed for consistency at least once a day, sometimes more during peak times.
Did they find specific times worked better for certain types of content?
Yes, definitely. The data showed weekday mornings, like 7 to 9 a.m., were good for those day-in-the-life videos. Evenings, say 6 to 9 p.m., worked well for motivational stuff or challenge updates. And Sundays were big for prep for the week type content workouts, meal ideas.
That's super specific and useful. What about hashtags and making their stuff discoverable within TikTok search?
They had a focused hashtag strategy, not just spraying dozens of tags.
Quality over quantity.
Right. Usually 4 to 6 per video, a mix. Maybe 1 or 2 broad ones like hashtag fitness, a couple more niche ones like hashtag home workout or hashtag nutrition tips, and then a branded one or a challenge hashtag. And then they made sure to put keywords in the caption and in any text overlay on the video itself. That helps with TikTok search. Plus, they kept an eye on trending sounds and terms to jump into relevant conversations.
So a very targeted approach. And what about engaging with comments? You mentioned community.
High priority. The article calls it algorithm rocket fuel. They tried to reply to every comment, often with a quick video response, or at least give it a heart, ideally within the first hour.
Wow, the first hour.
Yeah. They saw that fast interaction as signaling to the algorithm that the content was sparking real engagement, which helps boost its visibility.
Makes sense. It shows the content is alive. Now, influencers.
Right.
They worked with them, but smaller ones, right? Micro-influencers.
Yes, exactly. Micro collaborations. They focused on influencers with smaller but really engaged followings. Think 3,000 to maybe 30,000 followers, often actual trainers, nutritionists, or just relatable fitness enthusiasts.
Why micro instead of the huge names?
Engagement rates, mainly. They found these micro-influencers often had engagement like 3 times higher than the megastars.
Times, wow.
Yeah. And their recommendations felt more like genuine advice from a friend, less like a paid ad, more authentic.
Okay, so how did they structure these collabs? What was the deal?
Pretty organic, actually. Often just free app access for a month, maybe some minor swag. Then they just encouraged honest reviews, like really honest, even invited them to roast a workout challenge if they wanted.
Seriously.
Seriously. And they pushed for duets and reaction videos with their existing content. It made the collabs feel natural and reached a really targeted group. Plus, they watched their DMs and comments. If a micro-influencer mentioned them organically, they jumped on it fast.
That sounds way more sustainable and genuine than just throwing cash at big names. What about showing results? Did they do the classic before and afters?
They specifically avoided that, steered clear of the dramatic, sometimes unrealistic transformations.
Interesting. Why?
They wanted to focus on achievable wins, relatable progress. So they'd share stories like someone finally building a consistent workout habit, or someone showing how they fit a 10-minute workout into a crazy schedule, or people sharing tips for overcoming motivation slumps.
More about the journey and the small victory?
Exactly. That honesty and relatability really resonated, led to more shares, more comments, and yeah, ultimately, more signups.
Okay, so they built this amazing community, delivered value, and then how did they actually convert people, bridge that gap from content to sales?
They used what the article calls seamless in-video CTAs, calls to action that felt natural, not pushy. Like in a video showing part of a workout, they might say, hey, if you want to try the full thing, the free challenge is linked in our bio. Or grab a free trial of the app and duet this with your progress. Very integrated. They also really optimized their link in bio.
Ah, the crucial link in bio. What did that look like?
It wasn't just a link dump. It went to a custom mobile landing page built for TikTok users. Super clean, easy sign up, free trial offer right at the top, short video testimonials, quick animated feature tour.
Designed for speed and mobile.
Exactly. They even A/B tested different versions. Found that a join the challenge button worked way better than a generic start free trial.
Fascinating. Specificity matters.
It really does. And they also used scarcity limited edition challenges or workout plans, created that FOMO, fear of missing out to leverage viral moments.
Okay, so all these pieces working together. What was the actual impact, the results?
The numbers are pretty staggering, honestly.
Yeah.
Within 6 months of really committing to this TikTok strategy, their overall sales grew 2.1 times.
Doubled their sales.
More than doubled, yeah, compared to the 6 months before. Free trial signups coming directly from the TikTok bio link. up by 350%.
Whoa.
Average watch time on their videos nearly tripled, went from under 6 seconds to over 14 seconds. Shares and saves per video doubled. And get this, 22% of new paid users said they signed up because of a specific TikTok video or micro-influencer collab they saw.
Wow. That directly ties the activity to revenue. Incredible. And it wasn't just TikTok that benefited.
Oh, exactly. There was a knock-on effect, as the article puts it. TikTok became the engine for their content marketing. They had all this great video content they could then repurpose for Instagram, for emails.
Smart repurposing?
Yeah, and they saw follower counts and engagement go up on those other channels too, like a secondary wave.
Okay, so this is huge. For someone listening now, maybe feeling inspired, but also maybe a bit overwhelmed by TikTok.
Mhm.
What are the core takeaways, the first steps?
Okay, key things. 1, really understand your audience's TikTok DNA. What do they watch? What do they engage with?
Do that listening mode.
Exactly. 2, pick 2 or 3 core content pillars you can consistently create around. Make it edutaining. 3, jump on trends, but put your own spin, your brand voice on them.
Don't just copy.
Right. 4, look into collaborating with relevant micro-influencers. Authenticity matters. 5, value first, sell second. Always.
Crucial.
6, test stuff. See what works, analyze the data, and tweak your strategy. It's an ongoing process. And finally, 7, engage. Talk to your audience in the comments. Build that community.
Those are super practical. It really shows success on TikTok isn't just luck or random viral hits. It's strategy, understanding the platform, understanding your audience, and being authentic.
Precisely. That combo of short-form video and real, honest storytelling. It's incredibly powerful for building trust in community. This startup story is just a perfect example of that in action.
So, thinking about your own online presence, how can you maybe apply some of these ideas? How can you connect more authentically? Remember, even those first few steps, even if they feel a bit imperfect, can make a huge difference. So maybe that one bold, slightly messy, but real piece of content you could create to start your own deep dive into connecting better.